Good afternoon, courtroom two. Are we ready to get going?
Yes, good afternoon. We're ready.
Okay. Let's see. Who do we have with us there?
This is position number 3, Mr. Sherman Call.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carl, and also to everyone else that's in the courtroom. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their services. Mr. Carl, you've been charged in case 24 CR 007804D with criminal trespass. Afternoon, Mr. Howard. Is there a history?
Hey, 30 plus. He got open trespass in state court, open trespass PR charge for murder, open simple battery against a person who is 65 years old or pregnant out of the cab, open simple battery in public transit vehicle stationed in the cab, another open trespass, uh, 2019 group shoplifting arrest, player Nolo, 2015 burglary, second degree conviction. He has a bench warrant out of Edline. I stopped there.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Esiano.
Good afternoon, Judge. This incident took place on November 25th. Around 6 in the morning, officers responded to the Barack and Michelle Obama Academy located at 970 Martin Street regarding a suspicious person. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the defendant who was on the property after having received a criminal trespass warning on August 3rd of this year. He does have an open case for that criminal trespass on August 3rd. That's 24 CR 005824D. Looks like he just failed to appear. His arraignment in that hearing was scheduled for November 12th. When it came to state court, Your Honor, it was a bind over, so there's no bond conditions currently in place. However, the defendant's been trespassed from this property several times. In the incident in August, he was interfering with the school processes as well. So we'd be asking for a $1,000 surety bond, stay away, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Pinto. Is this your case?
Yes, Judge. Thank you. Mr. Carl is 41 years old. He's lived in Atlanta for 11 years. He's originally from Detroit. So he does have strong ties to the community. He doesn't work, however, he does receive SSDI. He did graduate high school and has a certification as a machinist. Regarding the failure to appear, Mr. Carl did not realize that he had court that day. He thought he had received time served on that case. So it was not a willful, missing of court. I'm sorry, this is the first time I've done an SEA calendar. Do we address the failure to appear or just the new charge?
Just the new charge.
Okay. Regarding the new charge, we would ask the court for a signature bond. He does reside at Serenity House, which is a shelter. He has no financial resources to be able to post bond. And I will note that the address on at least the pretrial report is incorrect. I'm not sure if I correct that now or if we have to file something. But I do have a good address for him at Serenity House.
Yeah, if you can make sure that after court that the clerk gets the correct address so that we have his proper address in the system. I'm also going to ask Ms. Bridgewater to place that other case, if you don't mind. Did you get the case number on the SAP calendar on the
Yes,
10th?
sir.
Okay, so maybe we can address those all at the SAP calendar on December 10th if he does not make bond. At this time, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Barack and Michelle Obama Academy. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Call.
Position number 6, Mr. Sear.
Good afternoon, Mr. Seals. You've been charged in case 24CR007806G with battery, family violence, cruelty to children in the third degree, and reckless conduct. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third, adult arrest. You got a open hijacking, armed robbery, possession of a firearm during the commission. It's 24 SC 002-380. 24 SC 002-381. And an open theft by receiving in Clayton County.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Allen.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you. This is an incident from July the 20th of 2024. I would note that I know at least one of those open armed robbery cases was dismissed because he was in jail for a period of time and not indicted. But it has been indicted in May of 2024, so he's out on bond, but he has no conditions. He previously had conditions that required an ankle monitor. So this incident in July, police were called to 1737 Niskey, Niskey, Lake Road Southwest at about 12:20 p.m. On scene, the victim, who is the sister of this young man, her name's Tatiana Seals, and her 4-month-old daughter, Tamira, was present when she made this report. She said that during an argument with her brother, who was there at the location, does not live with her right now or at that time, she picked up her daughter, the 4-month-old, and went outside. Her brother then ran up and pushed her, shoved her to the ground. She received injuries to her elbow. She had to turn her body to prevent her child from striking the ground. She told the defendant she was calling 911 and he fled the location. The case was followed up on by a DV investigator after the initial report was taken and body camera was reviewed, and they spoke to the victim. We tried to get in touch with his sister, Mrs. Seals, today, but have not been successful at this point. Based on the fact that he has two open armed robbery and hijacking cases, as well as a open case in Clayton County for theft by receiving. He was arrested March the 27th, 2024. We're asking for a $4,000 surety, Your Honor. No contact with Mrs. Seals or her child. Stay away from that location, 1737 Niskey, Lake Road Southwest, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Ms. Tatiana Seals is on. Ms. Pinto?
I'm sorry, you were going in and out, Judge. I didn't hear what you said before my name.
Seals was on the line and wishes to, Miss Tatiana Seals, the alleged victim, was on the line and wishes to address the court. Now was her opportunity. It doesn't appear that she's with us. Okay.
All right. Judge, Mr. Seals is 21 years old. He just signed up with Atlanta Technical College to get his GED and his CDL. And he will start that program soon. He's also applying for jobs. He applied at FedEx and at McDonald's. He's currently waiting to hear back on that. Is that my understanding? He has no felony or no convictions of any kind. So he's not likely to offend if released on bond. He can stay away from the incident location. We discussed that. I was able to get in touch with Miss Seals, the alleged victim in this case. What she told me is that she's okay with no violent contact with the holidays coming up. There will be family activities, so I would ask that he be allowed to have no violent contact with Miss Seals. And I would ask for a total bond of $3,000, so one on each charge.
For the battery, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For the cruelty, a $500 good bond. For the reckless, $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further violent contact with Miss Seals. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Seals.
Number one, Mr. Carter.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007813A with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the third degree. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
2019 driving without a valid license, no low. 2015 assault on a female conviction. 07 burglary, ag assault, theft by taking conviction. That's it.
Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place on November 22nd. Officers were dispatched to a domestic dispute at 845 North Central Avenue in Hapeville. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, whose name is Asia Davenport. She and the defendant lived together. There's also 2 children that live there. Unclear if those children are the defendant's children. However, when police arrived on scene, the parties were still actively arguing. The officer separated them, spoke to both of them. Initially spoke to the defendant first, who stated he was in a verbal dispute with the victim. The victim did not want him to leave, denied there was any physical altercation. Officer did not observe any marks on the defendant. Then spoke to the victim, Miss Asia Davenport. She reported that after she put the kids down to sleep, she got into an argument with the defendant. She states it was heated. The victim was seen to have a swollen lump on the left side of her forehead and a swollen lip. When the officer asked how she received those injuries, she very reluctantly admitted that the defendant punched her in the face. When asked if the children witnessed the incident, she said that she was not sure, but she thinks her 10-year-old son, initial ZD, did witness the incident. With the permission of Miss Davenport, the officers interviewed the child, who was visibly upset. He'd clearly been crying, had tears in his eyes. He told the officers that he heard the parties arguing. He saw the defendant punch his mom in the face and acted out the punching motion to the officer when the officer asked him to describe what happened. The warrant also states that the officer spoke to the neighbor, who's actually the person who called the police. And the neighbor called the police because at some point the altercation was outside. There's ring camera footage that captured part of that altercation. The neighbor described that based on the camera footage he had reviewed, it looked like the victim was agitating the defendant, would not leave him alone. The defendant was continuously trying to walk away, but continued to pursue the defendant, attempted to block his path, and attempted to push the defendant into the wall. It looks like the officers initially tried to charge the victim with cruelty to children in the third degree. And they put in the warrant that because she was an aggressor in the ring camera footage, it doesn't look like that charge was ever turned in or filed, probably because you can't charge just a cruelty to children by itself without the underlying crime. And after hearing the testimony from all the witnesses on scene, the officers did determine that the defendant was the primary aggressor here. We've not been in touch with Ms. Davenport today. We're requesting an SOB through pretrial level 2, no contact, stay away, anger awareness, or family violence intervention, preferably no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And if the court can sound for Ms. Davenport.
Your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Pinto?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Carter's 35 years old. He does have 3 children, one of whom resides in Miami and 2 reside normally with Mr. Carter. He's lived in Atlanta most of his life. He does have his GED and a pharmacy technician degree. And prior to his arrest, he was working for Unify Atlanta, which is a food distribution company. However, he was arrested in Hapeville on Friday and was supposed to work on Saturday. And hopefully he can return to that job. I will note he's been in custody since Friday with no bond on these misdemeanor charges. I heard his last conviction was in 2015, so it's been a long time since he's had any kind of interactions with the law. I would echo the state's request for a signature bond. And nothing further from the defense.
Okay, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For the cruelty, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Ms. Davenport. Stay away from the Central Avenue address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Carter.
Position number 7.
Whoa, yo, no more cops. Next over him.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sidwell. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007808A with theft by shoplifting and simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6, on probation, trespass, 3 counts of battery out of state court. 2023 ag assault dismissed, 2023 FTA trespass, and a 2018 affray conviction.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from November the 25th. So yesterday at about 1 p.m. It takes place at the Family Dollar on Cascade Road. That's 2324 Cascade Road. Police were called on a theft case. On scene, they encountered the manager of the store, Nia Taylor, as well as the victim, Leandrice Lovett. It was reported that the defendant had taken grocery and household items, multiple items from the location, and exited the store without paying. The employees followed him to the intersection of Cascade and Venetian, where they retrieved those items back. In response, the defendant then went back to the store and picked up a case of soda and threw it at Mr. Leandrice Lovett. That's Leondrice, one of the employees. This was witnessed by the manager. The defendant was arrested at his home, I believe. He does have an open criminal trespass and battery ×3 in probation case, an open probation case, 24 CR 006279A. That took place at a CVS where he basically did the same thing. So that 24 CR case needs to travel with him should he go onto the SAP calendar, Your Honor. Based on the fact that he's in violation of probation and he's committed another assault against a stranger while shoplifting, we're asking for a $3,000 surety to stay away from the location, the Family Dollar on Cascade Road, no contact with Leandrice Lovett, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Let's see, if Mr. Lovett is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean, good afternoon.
Your Honor, good afternoon. My client is local to Fulton County all his life. He does have those prior arrests and legal situations that the state has described, no doubt about that. But he does ask the court to consider a signature bond, and if failing that, then the lowest bond he could have as a surety bond. He is in disagreement with some of these facts, quite a few of them, as a matter of fact. He is a high school graduate, I believe, and 23 years old. Thank you, Your Honor.
It'll be a $500 good bond per charge, makes for a total of a $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Family Dollar on Cascade Road. No further contact with Mr. Lovett. I'd like him to have a social worker visit to assist with anything that he might require, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
ACDC, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. This is going to be position number 2, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, good afternoon, Francois. Position 2, and let me just go ahead and address Ms. Jackson and the other young lady there at the same time. Good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their services. Ms. Jackson, you've been charged in case 24 CR 007807D with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second. Open case out of car, possession of tools, obstruction, shoplifting.
Yes, Ms. Desiano.
Thank you, Judge. This incident took place on November 23rd. Around midnight, officers were dispatched to 3260 Stacy Lane in East Point regarding a domestic. The victim in this case is Quavius Tate. He and the defendant share 2 children together. He reported that he was assaulted by the defendant and her sister, whose name is Alexis Jackson. The sister, Miss Jackson, was also arrested in this incident and had felony first appearance this morning. He reported that he arrived at the location to drop off the kids when the defendant came outside and started an argument about his new girlfriend and her distaste of the new girlfriend being around the kids. At some point during this altercation, the victim reported the defendant and her sister through the victim's phone into the night. And of course, it's midnight, so it's pitch black. So he proceeds to go into the defendant's residence to get the oldest child's tablet so he can call his phone so he can locate it. And the victim said that that's when the defendant and her sister started attacking him. Officers also spoke to the defendant, who admitted there had been a verbal altercation over the girlfriend. She said her sister came out to get the kids. The sister and the victim started physically fighting. The defendant took the kids inside, comes back out, and then joins the fight. The defendant initially told officers that the victim was shoving her during the verbal altercation, but then later admitted that the defendant did not put his hands on her. The officers also spoke to the sister, who stated she was inside, heard arguing. She went outside to get the kids and, quote, take up for her sister. The victim had a ripped shirt and lacerations on his face. The defendant and her sister had no injuries. The police determined, of course, the defendant and her sister were the primary aggressors, arrested both of them. And in addition to being charged with battery family violence, the sister was also charged with criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree for repeatedly kicking the victim's rear passenger door of his vehicle, causing a large dent. We've not been in touch with the victim today. And the defendant does have an open felony matter, Your Honor, in Cobb County. So the state's requesting a $2,500 good bond, no contact with the victim, also no contact with the co-defendant, Alexis Jackson, Family Violence Intervention Program, a third-party transfer of the children that is not the sister, Alexis Jackson, for custodial exchanges, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And if Your Honor can sound for Mr. Tate, thank you.
Mr. Tate is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Whose case is this?
Mine, Judge.
You can proceed, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Miss Jackson is 30 years old. She has 2 children, ages 11 months old and 11 years old. Both of those children reside with Miss Jackson. They're currently being watched by a friend. She's lived in Atlanta her entire life. Her entire family is here. She graduated college with a bachelor's in entertainment business from Full Sail University. She has a good job working at Get Fruity Cafe. She's been there for almost 2 years at this point. So she has very strong ties to the community, Judge. I understand there's an open case in Cobb, but she has no convictions of any kind. She's okay with staying away from the incident location and the alleged victim. We would ask for a one-time return with law enforcement to get any belongings that are still there. Regarding the state's request for no contact with the co-defendant, I understand that it's her sister. While it's one incident, it is 2 separate cases. So I would ask that she be allowed to have contact with her sister with the holidays coming up. There could be a provision that they not discuss the case or whatever the court deems appropriate. She is her sole financial support, so I would ask for a signature bond.
Who lives at the Stacy Lane address?
It was our understanding, Your Honor, that it's either the sister's residence or the defendant's residence because the victim was there dropping off the children.
Right, so you didn't ask for a stay away, did you, Ms. Desiano?
I did not.
Okay,
I
that's
missed
what
that.
was, no, that's was confusing for me. Okay,
No, the
so,
address on file for Miss Jackson on Collier Court is the correct address for her, so.
It's possible it's the sister's address, Your Honor.
okay. All right, Ms. Jackson, I'm gonna let you out, with a signature bond through pretrial, but I want you to know that you have an 11-month-old and 11-year-old, two minor children that, depend on you, not only for everything that they get, but also for guidance. Okay, you need to think about that in the future as you go forward with what, you have or have not done here. But, think about your children first and foremost. I mean, they are your primary responsibility. They are yours to raise up in the right way. So it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Mr. Tate. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. 1-day anger awareness. Third-party transfer of the minor children, and the transfer cannot be with your sister, Miss Jackson. You're going to have to find somebody else to assist with the transfer of the children for visitation. Okay, good luck to you, ma'am.
Number 13, William.
Good afternoon, Ms. Williams. You've been charged in case 24 CR 007814G with simple battery family violence. My understanding that this is Ms. Williams's first arrest. Yes, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from yesterday, November the 25th at about 9:15 a.m. Police responded to 561 North Ridge Road, that's in Sandy Springs. That's where the defendant and the victim, Timothy Napier, Napier, live. Police responded there to apartment A. Mr. Napier was outside waiting. He told the police that he'd been trying to leave the location to go fix his car when he was assaulted by the defendant. She took his jacket from him. They ended up struggling and were on the bed, and the defendant put him in a headlock. Police went inside and spoke to Mrs. Williams. She said the victim was actually trying to prevent her from leaving. She needed to go to work, and he didn't want to be left alone with their 2 children. She reported that she grabbed him near the front door to prevent him from leaving, and they struggled. He was hitting her with his do-rag, and she called the police. No injuries were seen on either individual. Mr. Timothy Napier showed police video of the defendant in front of you holding his jacket and placing him in a headlock. She was arrested. We spoke to Mr. Napier. He said that they're not in a relationship, but they live together and share these 2 children. He confirmed the events in the warrant, Your Honor. Based on the facts of this case, the reality that you can't force someone to parent children that you share, and ongoing violence between the 2 of these people, this is obviously somewhat mutual, although the defendant in front of you admitted what she did to some degree, and there's evidence showing the headlock or the touching. We're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, Your Honor. Absolutely no contact with Mr. Napier, so that would require a third-party transfer of the children. Stay away from the location, 561 North Ridge in Sandy Springs, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Mr. Napier is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, I'm trying to flip to the page and see what the resulting charge count number was. Your Honor, my client does not object to the signature bond. That is appropriate. If it was simple battery, I think probably the state knocked off the cruelty, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was just looking for the sheet because I did print out the calendar. So we would have no objection, Your Honor. Stay away, no contact. That's fine.
Okay, $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Napier. Stay away from the North Ridge Road address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
So where does Williams live?
Well, apparently she did live at North Ridge Road, so
She'll be staying with a relative next. She'll have to get to the clerk and let them know what that's going to be.
okay, good luck to you, Miss Williams.
Thank you, Judge.
Is that it for this afternoon?
That is it.
That's
Yeah, we're
fine.
completed here at ACDC.
Okay, very good. Have a good Thanksgiving. Be safe.
Thank you.
Position
You do the same, Judge.
Thank you.
number 8,
Number 8,
yes.
this is Mr. Suter. Good afternoon. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007809F with 2 counts of simple assault, family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third. 2024 simple battery. 2017 disorderly conduct, terrorist threats, battery conviction. And that simple battery appears to be open.
What county is that?
It's ours. I don't know. You got that. Solicitors may know, but it's our county. I saw it in Odyssey.
Okay, thank you.
I'll
Ms.
have to
Allen?
look at it, Your Honor. I didn't see it on his criminal history.
Okay,
This is an incident this is Curtis Suter.
yes.
This is an incident from yesterday, November the 25th at about 12 p.m. Police were called to 1171 2nd Street Northwest by the defendant's mom, Cassandra Culpepper. She's here on the Zoom. The defendant lives there. His sister, Alicia Culpepper, was also present and a witness. She recorded the defendant with her cell phone and showed that recording to police. It contains evidence of the defendant chasing his mother around, swinging his fists at her. When they spoke to Mrs. Culpepper, the mom, she reported that the defendant and she engaged in a verbal altercation and he started to physically fight her. She denied that she'd struck him. The defendant was seen to have a bleeding laceration on his chin. But she said that he did make contact with her chest when we spoke to her today. The witness sister said that the defendant actually slipped and fell while he was chasing his mom in the house and injured his chin. He went outside and called 911. Your Honor, we spoke to the victim, Mrs. Culpepper, today. This young man is affiliated with the Grady Act team. Medication compliance has been an issue for him in the past. He currently is seeing and receiving anger management. So at this point, based on the fact that there is a 17 SC case, an aggravated assault against the same individual, it was, I believe, dropped down to a disorderly. This defendant should go home, but he needs to stay medication compliant. We'd ask for a $3,000 surety, $3,000 SOB through pretrial. To stay medication compliant, have no violent contact with his mother, Cassandra, or his sister, Alicia, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, obviously not unprescribed drugs. And I'll take a second and go look and see what the open case is.
Thank you. Ms. Culpepper, if you're going to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I would just like to say with the incident that took place yesterday, at the time Curtis, he had just went into one of his fast moments. He was doing fine that morning because he was in the process of waiting on the graded behavior system to pick him up for his anger management class. He's been doing fine. At first, he was off his meds on the case that they're talking about. That's the reason why he took it upon himself to start back taking the shot where we can reassure that he's being medicated because he had a problem with taking the pills. So now that he's back on his medication, I think it just take a little time for it to kick in. But overall, Curtis is a good child. He just have his spare at the moment, but I think that he's come to term that he has to stay fully medicated, whether he feel better or not, he has to stay medicated. That's where, he could be full functional and do the things that he need to do. But overall, I really don't have no problems out of Curtis at all. It's my daughter sometimes that would trigger him, and I'm trying to get him now to learn. Do not let her trigger him by calling him retarded and stuff like that. Stuff like that he need to learn how to control and ignore her when she can't have her way and take it out on him or anybody else. So that's where I'm at right now. He's very aware of what he needs to do. And that's why he started back willing to take the shot and be very compliant with his medication.
He lives with you, Miss Culpepper?
I don't have no problem with my son. The last time I had a problem with him was years ago. Ever since then, he's been doing fine up until yesterday.
I guess my question was, does he lives with you?
Yes, sir, he does.
Okay, and your daughter lives with you also?
As well, yes.
Okay, and do you assist him with his medication and things of that nature?
He got the 8th graded ACT team that actually come out. He got several counselors that come out. They come out faithfully, sometimes every day out the week, and then sometimes 3 times a week. They come to the house and give him his shot and everything. So he's getting home assistant. I get help from the graded ACT team, and they're very involved with him.
Okay,
So he's getting the assistance that he needs, and he's been getting it now.
thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Culpepper.
You're welcome.
And Your
Ms.
Honor, it
McCl-
appears that the open case is from 2020. It was a bind over case that was just sent over to us, so it'll be NOD'd, but it is a violent incident.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Allen. Mr. McLean, any objection to any of the requests of the state?
No, Your Honor. A slight comment that I understand what the state said about when the prosecutor interviewed the victim, that she did say that he did touch in some kind of way, shove, push, I'm not sure, the chest. I just noted in the police report that it was about attempting and swinging. And he called the police, not the mom. She didn't want to call the police because of the treatment he was getting. Thought that was the way to go. But no objection to the signature bond.
Okay. It will be a $1,500 signature bond per charge, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 per judge. No further violent contact with Ms. Culpepper or the sister, Miss Alicia. No drugs, alcohol, weapon while out on bond, but he is to stay medically compliant with the medications that he's currently on. Okay. All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Culpepper. Good luck to you also, Mr. Suter.
And thank you, sir, Thank you also, Judge.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right.
Number 9.
Good afternoon, Mr. Totten. You have been charged in case 24CR007810J with simple battery family violence, 2 counts. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 total. 2015 ag assault, cruel to the children. 2014 probation, 2012 violation, family violence order, simple battery obstruction conviction. That's it.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just on the DeKalb website trying to figure out if there's a way for me to see who the victim is and that prior, what came in as an aggravated stalking, but ultimately the defendant pled to violation of a family violence order, simple battery and willful obstruction. As part of that sentence, he was ordered to complete anger management and have no violent contact with the victim. He later had a probation violation and then a later further ag assault arrest and cruelty to in the third degree. This is an incident that occurred on November 4th, Your Honor, which is a Wednesday. And that is important because the individual in front of you and the victim in this case share children, and there is a parenting plan in place that has been in place since August. The victim in this case is Sharadi Jones, and that's Chardai or Charday, maybe. I apologize if I'm messing that up. Police responded and took a report. Mrs. Rhodes reported that her children had been picked up from school by the defendant, and it wasn't his day to pick them up. He doesn't actually pick them up. She had received no notice. Their current parenting plan says he gets the kids every other weekend. They only communicate through Family Wizard unless there's an emergency. When she realized he had taken the children from school, she called him. He said he was at the playground near her house. She went there and started to put her kids in the car. He then approached her as she sat in the driver's seat and refused to move, trying to make it impossible for her to leave. He then shoved her in the head, making her head hit the back of the headrest, and he threw candy in her face. Police actually spoke to the two children who were there on scene, and they reported seeing this happen. The exchanges of all the children in addition in that parenting plan are supposed to happen at a local place called the Global Mall on Jimmy Carter Boulevard. This is a consent parenting plan that they both entered into. So just based on the fact that the children witnessed this assault, the fact that this defendant took custody of the children outside of what the agreed upon parenting plan is, and then assaulted their mom in front of them. We have this case in front of you. It's simple battery, family violence, 2 counts for shoving her and striking her with an object, Your Honor. We did speak to the victim. She says they're not in a relationship. She actually has an open case, I think, where she's doing diversion. She said that since this incident on November the 4th, she's received a bunch of messages from the defendant and she wants no contact. And it's the state's position that that's what should happen. There should be no contact other than the Superior Court case orders. I'll give you the number of that case if you'd like. It's 2023 CV 388824. In that case, they're only ordered to have communication through My Family Wizard unless there's a emergency. And so that would be what the state would think is appropriate at this point. We'd ask for a $2,000 surety, no contact whatsoever. Stay away from her residence, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you.
And if you would count for her, again, her last name is Rhodes.
Yes, Ms. Rhodes, if you would like to address the court, I see you there. Now is your opportunity to do so. You certainly don't have to, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Rhodes. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can place your hand down, Ms. Rhodes. What would you like to tell the court?
I would like to tell the court we do share kids together. And I want y'all to seek some kind of help. While I was just sitting here watching him, he actually laughed like it was funny that our kids are they're being brought to violence, that they're watching it, that they're seeing it. This shouldn't be violence on his behalf or my behalf. And I don't want our kids to see this. I don't want them to be damaged from this. And it just, the only reason I wasn't going to say anything, but that kind of infuriated me that he laughed about it, that our kids seen it. Or that our kids are old enough now to actually speak on it. Because they were the ones that, were the teeter to where the police were like, okay, the kids seen it. And I wasn't even in the house. They said exactly what they seen. So I think he needs to do something about this. This is a history. If it's not me, it's someone else. And I need him to get his stuff together because we have kids.
Thank you, Ms. Rhodes. I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, we would simply ask the court, he is 38 years old, educated, works, Your Honor. I believe it would be more appropriate to have a signature bond in this situation as they move forward and use this third-party contact and transfer and have no contact. Also, the 3 card has the wrong address, but that doesn't have anything to do with the case. He'll get the clerk stated on the address that the jail had.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen, tell me again, does he have an open case or?
No, mom has a case she's in diversion on right now. And so I just wanted it to be clear that she wasn't in violation of this parenting order. She is supposed to have no contact with him. And that's what she was trying to do. The defendant himself has prior convictions for violating a TPO, for simple battery, obstruction, had been ordered to undergo anger management, has an arrest from 2017, an aggravated assault that was null prost. I'm not sure who the victims are in those cases. I guess
Okay.
we could ask, but there's also an assault with intention to commit great bodily harm out of North Carolina that was dismissed. So there's a concern here for the safety of the children, and it seems like the parenting plan that they agreed to is what's appropriate if someone follows it.
Right, thank you. Mr. Howard, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Pretrial doesn't list a recommendation for me
It's up to you.
Okay. Thank you. It's going to be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial on each charge, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Ms. Rhodes. Follow any parenting plan that is currently in place. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
The next case is number 10, Mr. Wade.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wade. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007812H with 3 counts of battery, family violence, criminal trespass, interference with possession, family violence, simple battery, family violence, and theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
17. Got an open criminal damage to property out of Clayton County. 2021 arrest, simple battery DV, trespass DV, trespass damage. 2018 probation, 2015 FTA.
Excuse me, he said that's not him.
All right, well, state what you got.
Felony drug, conditional discharge, 2 years probation, Coweta forgery and felony drug first offender, excuse me.
This Andre Wade, right?
Yep, pandering, 18 SC 157832. Conviction, open Clayton County felony, criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree from 2022.
So
Okay.
did you have what I have too?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
it needs to be fingerprinted.
What's the date of birth?
5/18/1991.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, there are 6 counts in this accusation, or in accused, I guess is the right word. It's not an indictment. This is an incident that occurred over the course of some hours on June the 20th of 24. A report was made at 9:30 in the morning. One officer responded. That report was assigned to a DV investigator. Shortly thereafter, at noon, another report because another assault has been committed, and another officer responded. So you have warrants obtained by two separate DV investigators who reviewed and communicated with the victim based on multiple assaults on the same day. The victim is Santrivia Calhoun. That's Santryvia. So at 9:30 in the morning, officers were dispatched to 3120 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. They're met with the victim, Mrs. Calhoun. She reported that she'd been driving her vehicle and the defendant was in the passenger seat. He snatched her phone from her and was angry because it was locked. He couldn't get into it. She stopped the car, and at that point, he threw her phone out into the road. She got out of the car to get her phone, and the defendant assaulted her in the car. He grabbed her by her hair. He punched her in the face. She got out to get her phone. He jumped into the driver's seat and took her car and drove it down the street. He parked at 3120, which is where police responded. He then chased her outside the entrance of a car wash there across the street, again struck her in the face with his fist, grabbed her by the hair and dragged her on the ground. She had visible abrasions on her body. She also had a bruise and a small laceration on the side of her face. She was told to go get medical attention, but she didn't. So the police report was made. Those injuries were documented. Later that same day at about noon, police responded to 49 Boulevard Southeast. That's where Mrs. Calhoun lived at that time. She met with police there. She reported that after the initial incident, she went home and the defendant showed up there. Again, he argued with her about her phone. He punched her in her face and threw her to the ground. He again grabbed her by her hair. And at this point, he took her phone and he took her car and he left the location. She was seen to have bruising on her forehead that she didn't have earlier. She also refused EMS, but she did identify the defendant as the person she shares children with. The defendant has multiple priors, 2021 for felony level terroristic threats and criminal damage to property with a different woman, burning her vehicle, flattening her tires, refusing to leave her property. He did pretrial intervention in that case, Your Honor, and it was dead docketed. He does have that 2018 pandering conviction. He does have conditional discharge and first offender on 3 different felony drug cases. We spoke to the victim. She reported that she and the defendant are not in a relationship and don't live together, but she confirmed that they share 3 children. She's now saying that although they did get into an altercation, they were fighting over the phone. She's claiming she never said he punched her and he didn't punch her. But she's also saying she doesn't want contact. So that's what we're asking for, Your Honor. We're asking for a $10,000 surety in this case. The defendant is on bond for felony criminal trespass. His history not only shows a substance abuse problem, but a female problem and a damage to property problem. An assault on someone twice in the same day you share children with, requiring 2 different police reports and obvious visible injuries is a concern for not only Mrs. Calhoun's safety, but the safety of the 3 children they share. Warrants were issued in this case when they happened. So this person has been outstanding and hiding ultimately. I think the defense argument that these are old cases or this incident happened months ago is really kind of strange to make in cases of delayed arrest. We know that often families and family units, even if they're dysfunctional, return back to what is considered normal after a police report and a crisis happens. And sometimes the defendant goes home. The victim called for help and there wasn't any help and he wasn't captured. So what is she supposed to do? It shouldn't be used as evidence that this isn't serious. So we're asking for a $10,000 surety, Your Honor. Absolutely no contact with Ms. Calhoun. Stay away from wherever she may live. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and no contact with the children unless it's granted by a superior court order. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, my client is 33 years old. I believe that he has, excuse me if I might, grab the right sheet of paper. Apologize for the delay. He has a CDL, commercial driver's license. He drives trucks for a living. He is local. Before that, he did warehouse work. He graduated from Douglas High School. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond, and failing that, if that's not the way the court would be inclined, we would ask for a low surety bond.
Okay. For each of the batteries, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond. For the simple battery, a $500 good bond. For the theft, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $4,500 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Calhoun. Stay away from her residential address. And abide by any Superior Court orders regarding visitation. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Wade.
Position number 1 on the add-on Solomon Wilson.
Okay, and this is Mr. Deron Wilson, is that right? Yes, good afternoon. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007815A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
And on probation, the cab, theft by conversion, 2015 FTA. That's it.
Hey. Yes, Miss Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from August the 22nd of 24. At 4 a.m., police were called to 925 Conley Road. The victim, Mrs. Quenisha Trent, who is here on the Zoom, met with police. She was seen to have swelling and bruising to her body, her right eye, her arm, her head, and elsewhere on her face. She reported that she and the defendant lived together. This is at about 4 or 5 in the morning. She said her husband arrived home after being at the strip club. He was intoxicated. They argued and he assaulted her. He picked up a hair comb and struck her in the leg and the arm. He then picked up a rod that goes to TV and struck her in the face. He threw her cell phone into water and damaged it. She was seen to have a laceration on the side of her head. DV investigator Muzon Hall followed up with her, interviewed her, and reviewed the body-worn camera and obtained a warrant on August the 24th. We did speak to Mrs. Trent today. She reports that she's in fact the primary aggressor here, and she was trying to stab him with a comb. She also said he struck her in the face, and she had to receive stitches in her eye and her arm, and that they've been living together since this incident. So she wants to continue contact. There have also been many successful jail calls to her from the jail, Your Honor. We're asking for a $2,000 surety and an order that says no contact to stay away from the location where they live, 925 Conley Road, if that's in fact still their address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. The concern here is a risk to reoffend and harass and intimidate witnesses. The fact that a victim is indicating that not only was she injured to the degree that she had to get stitches on her arm and her eye as a result of this incident, and is now essentially recanting and claiming responsibility, which is not unusual. Again, just like I argued a few minutes ago, life returned back to normal after this report was made on August the 22nd, and arguably this defendant just went back home again, and so her reality may have been adjusted because of that. There's a concern for the safety of this victim as well as the 3 children that they share. In addition, because of the information about her lacerations receiving stitches with medical information, this could be upgraded to an aggravated battery. I know you understand that. So we'll just see. Those are the terms we're asking for: no contact and stay away. And if you would sound for Mrs. Trent. Thank you.
Ms. Trent, I see that you're here on the line. If you wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. I will need for you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this court is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down, Ms. Trent. What would you like to tell the court?
Yes, sir. This is my husband. We've been together 12 years, married for 9. However, this situation has never happened between us. Out of all the years we've been together, this is the first time anything like this has happened. And it wasn't him returning home from the strip club. We came from the strip club together. So it was both of us out drinking and having a night. So I would blame it on the alcohol at that point. I'm not in fear for my life or whatever, and he is my kid's dad and he's helping me. So that's the only help I got at the moment. And about like what she said, as me recanting my statement, I was the aggressor in the situation because previously, I mean, just like being together for 12 years, we've been in and out, and I've dealt with a lot of infidelity on my end from him. And I just felt like, going through my phone or whatever that night, I felt like it wasn't nothing for him to be mad at me about at that time and period. But for the most part, I'm not fearing for my life. And this is the first time this has ever happened, like to this degree or just period. This is the first time it's ever been this bad.
How many children do you have?
With the defendant, I have 3 kids. All of them is by him.
Okay, how old are they?
We have a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, and 8-year-old.
And where do they live? They live with you all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are you still at the Conley Road address?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on the night that this happened, where were the children?
They weren't here. I don't think. Were they here? They weren't here.
Who's in the room? Are they there with you right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understand how that's problematic for me, right? They have their father here in courtroom too, locked up, and you have your children there witnessing that. Don't you think that this could be traumatizing for a 10, 9, and an 8-year-old to hear and see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you need to make better choices. Okay, and if you can't make those choices, I might have to assist you with making those choices.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I understand whatever goes on between you and Mr. Wilson, you're a grown person. But those 3 kids, you are all that they have. However you are raising them, that's the kind of people they're gonna be. They're gonna see what you all are doing and how you're doing it and how you're influencing them. You have a huge responsibility on your hands. It's not just you, it's not just Mr. Wilson. The only thing that should be on your mind is raising those children in the right way. And seeing y'all go through all of this like this is not, in my opinion, raising them in the right way.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I appreciate you being here this afternoon, Ms. Trent. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, my 40-year-old was a graduate of Booker T. Washington High School, and after that, he had pursued a business management type degree in a level. He completed 2 years at Bowder, which has a campus on North Avenue, not that terribly far from, I believe, Georgia Tech. He tells me he works also, he's a certified forklift operator and works at the Kroger warehouse and has for quite some time. 925 is definitely their address. If Your Honor is inclined to separate the couple, then he could go live with his brother. I did discuss that with him. He and I had a discussion about several topics also. His last arrest before now was in 2020 on October 12th, and it says open case on the public safety assessment report that he's on 5 years probation, and it would have to be from that 2020 case. So it took 3 years to get the plea or the verdict, or probably a plea, probation, Your Honor. And I said, you must be on probation now, right? And he says, no, it was early terminated. He says, I did everything I was supposed to do. And already less than a year later, after going on that 5P, he's done all his requirements. And I said, well, I don't have time today to look it up in DeKalb County, but maybe it's still under suspension. Maybe it was balance suspended if you got the early termination, I don't know. But he tells me, Your Honor, he has no obligations on that case anymore and successfully completed. So he did put the effort in, Your Honor. They do need to, they have quite a bit on their plate here. I would ask the court to consider a signature bond if possible, and a low surety bond if not.
Okay, it's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3, 1-day anger awareness, a parenting class. At this point in time, no further contact with Ms. Trent. He's to stay away from the Conley Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. Third-party transfer of the minor children for visitation, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right.
You said level 3, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Wilson. You also, Ms. Trent.
Your Honor, you were going in and out. What was that dollar amount of the bond?
It's a $3,000 signature bond, level 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, I'm in here with Terry Washington.
Okay, Washington.
This is what you get.
All right.
So, Mr. Washington's been medically reset since a week ago. Saturday, he was behavioral or mental health reset yesterday. It was reported that he wouldn't speak to the public defender. He wouldn't speak to jail staff. He just slept. And so I think this behavior is somewhat of a surprise. It is to me based on what was represented previously. But we just need to be clear this is a riverside issue and go ahead and deal with his bond.
Okay.
Mr. Honor, I think we video and talk about competency court at this point.
Okay. I'll need a mental health evaluation from you, Mr. McLean.
Yes, Your Honor.
And let me just quickly see if I can advise him of his charges. Okay, it doesn't look like he is.
Yes, Your Honor, he's really not cooperating at all. I promised Judge Williams I was gonna come up here and bring the phone up here, the iPhone. This is what you guys get. I mean, I can't do more than what I have to do.
Yes, you have. Thank you for going out of your way and helping us out. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
You can hear, Penny. You can appraise him of his charges, I guess. I mean, what do you usually do, Your Honor? Just for my information.
Well, if there's going to be a mental health evaluation, I normally just go ahead and order that. You know, even if I gave him the charges, I'm not sure if he's in a state where he can understand what I'm telling him. So I don't know if that would, would even be of help. But we do know that Mr. Washington is charged in 24 CR 007744G with 2 counts of theft by shoplifting, and in case 24 CR 007745G with criminal trespass. Based on what I've seen, I'm going to order a mental health evaluation, which Mr. McLean, I would have you prepare for us,
yes,
if you could. And the theft cases and the criminal trespass, Ms. Allen, what's the state requesting?
So, Your Honor, the first case on the docket is from November the 16th and November the 14th, 2 incidences taking food items. We're requesting a $2,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and stay away from the Walmart at 5200 Windward Parkway. The second case on the docket ending 7745G is 1 count from the 15th of November the Walgreens at 5510 Windward Parkway. These are both Alpharetta. We're asking for $1,000 surety and to stay away from that Walgreens, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, Your Honor.
Any objection to any of that, Mr. McLean, along with the mental health evaluation?
Well, Your Honor, the main thing is just get him treatment. I don't have much of a comment on the amounts. I don't think he's being successful on the street right now, so we need to get him treated.
Of course. So we'll place, so it'll be for position 11, it will be $1,000 good bond on each charge, makes for a $2,000 good bond. Stay away from the Walmart on Windward Parkway. Mental health evaluation and treatment if necessary. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. For position 12, it would be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Walgreens. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, and a mental health evaluation.
And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the defendant's 6th arrest this year.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Allen. Ms. Bridgewater, when is the next when can we put him on a competency calendar?
Yes, we can do that. So it'll probably be December the 12th. That'll be that Thursday.
Okay. Put him on the December 12th competency calendar. Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Bridgewater.
All righty.
Okay. Thank you all.
I'm sorry. Position
No,
number,
you're fine.
position number 4, Mr. Kohler, Logan.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Kohler. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007811J with terroristic threats and acts, 2 counts in criminal trespass and damage to property. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Kohler's first arrest. Yes, Ms. Desiana.
Yes, Your Honor. He's 17 years old. This incident took place yesterday. Incident location is 105 Bridal Trail Court in Roswell. The officers were dispatched to the location regarding a domestic dispute. When the officers arrived, the family was waiting in the car for police to come in an attempt to avoid the defendant because he was being very aggressive. The 911 call from this case has a lot of screaming and yelling and the sound of breaking things in the background as well. Upon arrival, the officer initially made contact with the defendant, who advised that he was in a verbal altercation with his mother over being grounded and having his electronics taken away. He confirmed for the officer that the people that were out in the car were his family. He denied threatening anyone or touching anyone, but did admit to telling his mother that he hated her. The officers then spoke with the first victim, whose mom, Jamie Kohler. She stated that the defendant was threatening to, quote, kick her ass and also threatening to kick her other son's ass, Wyatt Logan. He's on the Zoom here. He was breaking several objects in the house to include a gaming system and a computer monitor and his own cell phone. The officers spoke with the defendant's little sister, who's a minor, initials EK. She showed the officers the smashed cell phone and told the officers that she witnessed him smash it. The brother, Wyatt Logan, is the second victim. He told officers he was telling Logan not to break the computer monitor, reminding him that the last time he broke things in the home that he felt bad afterwards. Wyatt reported that the defendant then squared up on him, told him he was going to kick his ass again, to which the brother stated he did feel threatened because his brother has physically assaulted him in the past. And he also advised that the defendant was very angry throughout this altercation and red during this verbal dispute. We've been in touch with mom today, Miss Jamie Kohler. She states that they live together at the incident location. She states that the defendant has been on and off his medication. She believes that there is an MH issue that has not been diagnosed. She said that what started this whole thing was the day before this incident, the defendant called DFACS alleging abuse. DFACS had come out the following day, the day this happened, to investigate. The DFACS worker did not find any evidence of any abuse and left. She stated that the defendant got very upset and wanted to leave at that point to go to someone else's house. She told him no. And that's when he started breaking things and yelling at everyone. She stated that she called the police because she really wants the defendant to get some help with his MH issues. She is asking that he be evaluated. She's saying that currently he's not going to school. She's okay with contact and okay with the defendant returning to the residence. And Your Honor, it is his first arrest. And Mr. Wyatt Kohler's on the Zoom. We can ask him how he feels about contact. So at this point, we're requesting a signature bond through pretrial with an adult co-signer. No further violent contact with Miss Jamie Kohler. We can ask Mr. Wyatt Kohler how he feels about contact, an MHET in order that the defendant remain in school, 1 day of anger awareness, a curfew if Your Honor finds that appropriate, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Start with Ms. Jamie and Mr. Tim Kohler that I see on the line. If you all would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourselves, activate your camera for me. Yes, and this is Miss Jamie Kohler, is that right? Okay, I'm not able to hear you, Miss Kohler. There's something going on with your sound there. I think that you're going to have to, you may have to get out of the session, come back in and choose audio when you come back into the session. I'll wait for you. Okay, of course.
And Judge, I'm sorry to interrupt. I never got a chance to interview Mr. Kohler. I wasn't sure if he had a private attorney or what, but I haven't had a chance to speak to him.
Okay. So, a courtroom 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Pinto is saying that she has not interviewed Mr. Kohler, so can we make that happen?
Oh, okay. Go to the phone over
Okay.
there. Yeah. Call courtroom 2, Ms. Pinto.
Okay.
Your Honor, is it possible to examine the victims real quick while they're on the line, just to get Mr. Kohler's take on contact? Mr. Kohler's an adult, right, Ms. Kohler? Mr. Wyatt Kohler is an adult.
Okay, yeah, I can't, Ms. Kohler, you're still not, do you have another device? I don't want to proceed, Ms. Desiano, until Ms. Pinto's informed about what she needs to, if she hasn't talked to him, then
Understood, yes.
she won't may have a full understanding of everything. So Mr. Wyatt Kohler, I'm glad that I appreciate you being here. Give us a moment, okay?
Okay,
All
so
right.
may I be excused to call?
Yes, you can. And is there anyone else that we can take that's not one of Ms. Pinto's clients?
The last person, he's Miss Pinto client as well, but he has a charge that we probably want him in the courtroom by himself.
Okay, so we're gonna have to be in recess, I guess, until Ms. Pinto rejoins us. Okay, court will be in recess.
This guy said he talked to McCall.
I'm here.
McLean.
Hello?
McLean, did you speak to Mr. Kohler?
No. Nope, not Kohler.
Okay, so Ms. Pinto is speaking to her.
Can you hear me out, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now, Ms. Kohler. So give us a moment. Your son is being represented by the public defender this afternoon. As such, she's speaking with him right now. Once she comes back and joins us, and he joins us, we'll resume. Okay. So.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
My other son's at work, so he's in here. So.
Okay, we'll be with you all as soon as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate all your patience.
You're welcome, man. We'll be in recess until a counsel returns.
you ready for position number 4?
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Let me go back to Miss Jamie Kohler. Are you with me? Or Mr. Wyatt Kohler?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, thank you. And does Wyatt need to get back to work? Do I need to speak with him first?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing Wyatt first, please, sir. So
Okay,
I'm
that's
because
okay. No,
he's
that's
trying hard
fine.
to be a good citizen in life.
I understand. Good afternoon, Mr. Wyatt Kohler. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, Wyatt. What would you like to tell the court?
I would just like to tell the court that I believe that Logan is a very, very good kid. And I think that he was just off of his medicine and it was a bad day. And I would like to touch up on one of the allegations. It said that he rushed up and squared up on me. He never rushed up on me. He was just verbally threatening me while standing like 5 or 6 feet away.
Okay, and do you live at the Bridal Trail address as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 19 years old.
All right, and do you want your brother to come back home and live there?
Of course, I want my brother to come back and live there. I love him to death.
Okay, you're not afraid of him?
No, sir. I feel like he was just having a bad day and he didn't take his medicine, and I just felt like it was a bunch of things added together, and I feel like it just made him pop, I don't think it should define him as a character or anything like that. I feel like he should be home for the holidays. I think he just had a bad day.
Okay, I appreciate you being here this afternoon, Wyatt.
Yes, sir.
Have a good rest of your day. Yes, Miss Jamie Kohler, what would you like to tell the court?
Yes, sir. Logan has been hanging out with another individual who has been filling his mind with all sorts of things, very manipulative, very things like that. She was the one who got this defect thing going, and all this, and was because he was at wrestling. He got caught not skipping his wrestling match on Saturday, and he didn't want to come home because he didn't want to have to put up with me and my husband telling him because he skipped out on his wrestling match and his team. And I told him that he had had to come home. He said he didn't have to come home. So I told him, I said, by law, you have to be home with mama and you have to face the music. You're going to be grounded. I cleaned his room out, took all his electronics. Well, I took all the cords. The electronics I just left in there. And when the defects lady came in on Monday, I was completely surprised. She asked all my family all questions. Logan thought he was going to get to go wherever he wanted to go. And the defects lady said, no, that you had to stay here. You had to face the consequences. She had assigned us a behavioral specialist to help him. I also told her that Logan was on the spectrum, that we were getting him tested. His sister and his niece both have schizophrenic and bipolarness, that I wanted to get him tested for that as well, just in case. But I was really scared to do that because he wanted to join the military and things like that. He hasn't been on his meds. He refuses to talk to his counselor or take his meds. And this is why everything is going on right now. When she left, he got very angry. He started throwing his stuff, not my stuff, his own stuff, down the stairs, or just breaking it. None of my stuff was broken, just his own things, which that's fine. That's his stuff. I'm not replacing it. And when the defects lady told me if he acts up again to call the police and just file an unruly report and have him be escorted for medically. I told the police officer that, and they went ahead and pressed charges. Me and my son said we did not want to press charges because he was breaking his own things. And if he was on his meds, he would be completely fine. Before he met this young lady and had all these incidents, he was on his meds, talking to a counselor. He was starting to go to school regularly. His grades were coming up. And since he's met this young lady, his grades have gone down. He stopped coming to school. We've had to fight with him every morning to get to school. There has been incidents in the past where he's not wanting to go to school. We've had to call the police. So he is in truancy violation. He is skipping school. I just need to get him, I'd like to get him into something medical, get him evaluated, and I would like him to come home. He is not a danger to any one of us. He is a perfectly sweetheart kid, He's just right now, he's very confused, and he is also on the spectrum. He doesn't deal very well with a lot of people at once. He doesn't understand social cues. So I'm very concerned him being in there right now.
Okay. Ms. Kohler, you've gone off camera. Can you come back on camera for me?
Sorry, sir.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so where is he in school?
He's at Milton High School, sir.
And what grade is he?
He's 11th grader.
Okay. And aside from extracurricular activities, does he work or anything of that nature?
No, sir. His job is if he does a sport, he plays a sport and he tries to keep his grades up. I mean,
Okay.
that's all we ask of him, you know.
Right.
And
You mentioned
he's tried a job before, huh?
you mentioned that he has a behavioral specialist. Is that somebody that he sees
They were going to
regularly?
assign him a behavioral specialist.
Okay, but it is your belief that at the present time he needs a mental health evaluation?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I inquire the witness?
Yes, Ms. Desiano.
Hi, Ms. Kohler. My name is Taylor DeSiano. I'm one of the prosecutors here today working on your son's case. So when this incident happened, you and who else were hiding in the car?
My husband, me, my daughter, my son, because the 911 operator told us to get out of the house immediately. She said, get in the car and go outside. She asked us to leave, and that's what we did.
Okay. Were you scared?
No.
Okay. And what's the lady's name that he's been hanging out with?
Juliana. And she has a history of drama, a history of manipulating and things like such as that. A couple of weeks ago, she told my children that she was raped and she was pregnant and had them looking up abortion clinics. Come to find out, this is a regular occurrence for the young lady.
Okay, do you know Juliana's last name?
Shepherd.
Okay, and
Sheffield or Shepherd.
And the items in the
Sheffield.
house that we're talking about that he broke, did he purchase those items with his own money?
No, they were gifts to him.
Okay, so because he's a minor, that's not really his property. Do you understand that?
Okay. Well, I don't own, that's in his room.
Okay, and it was the desktop computer and his gaming system and his cell phone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you think your son would benefit from any sort of anger management course?
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to a mental health evaluation?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you were saying that he is supposed to take medication, but sometimes he does not take it?
I have been trying. So in the morning, I'm a teacher, so I stay late because I have my school. I don't have to be at school till like 9 o'clock. So I stay late to make sure my daughter and him both have their medicine because they both have. He has depression and high anxiety, and it also helps him with his mood swings. And he's been seeing this shrink since probably June, and so it has helped him when he's on it full time. He is very calm and ensuring he gets down from school. He doesn't argue with us in the morning. He's very calm. Since he's been hanging out with this girl for the past month, he has not been taking his meds. He tells me he takes them. He doesn't. I brought down the pills so I could make sure I was giving it to him by hand. So I could see him swallow it. His tongue went up, everything else. And he thought that him and this girl cooked up an idea that if he had said that me and my husband did something and all whatsoever, that he could be able to go live with her.
Okay.
And I told him, and she lives with another lady named Mary, and Mary said that she concurred everything that has been said to me.
Okay.
That I had just repeated to you.
Thank you. Your Honor, that's all the questions I have. We would just ask that the bond order require an MHET, no further violent contact, in order that he stay in school and be medication compliant and no contact with Juliana Shepherd.
Okay, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Kohler is 17 years old. He's lived in Atlanta his entire life. As stated by his mother, he's a junior at Milton High School. He is on the wrestling team for the school. He also has does boxing as an extracurricular. We are asking for a signature bond for Mr. Kohler. As noted, this is the first arrest he's had. I explained to him some of the things that the state was asking for, and he's happy to do, the classes, the evaluation if deemed necessary by the court. So we would ask for a signature bond. I don't know if the court really has the authority to make him stay away from someone who's not involved in the case. Miss Juliana, unclear what her last name was, whether it was Shepherd or Sheffield. So I'll leave that in the discretion of the court. But really, what's most important is that we get him back home.
Well, Your Honor, what's most important is that the victims are safe and that there's no more violence going on.
Okay, anything further?
No, Judge.
All right. For each charge, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, a mental health evaluation, and a treatment that's necessary. No further violent contact with anyone in the Kohler family. He is to stay medication compliant. He is to stay in school. He is to have a curfew from, has to be in by 9 p.m. and cannot leave until 8 a.m. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
What's the curfew again?
9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Okay.
So he can leave it. He can leave after 6 a.m. to go to school, and he has
Does
to
that
be.
work? I know some schools start very early, so I just want to make sure 6 a.m. I assume that's doable.
Yeah, they don't start at 6 a.m.
I know they don't. I had school that started at 7 a.m. in high school, so
He doesn't have a class. He doesn't start till 8:15.
okay.
Judge, who co-signed?
Yes, Ms. Kohler, I take it that you or your husband will, you'll have to co-sign for him, so you'll have to pick him up. I take it that you're willing to do that.
Yes, sir, I am. You just
Okay,
tell me
and
what I need to do, and I'll make sure I do it.
the correct spelling of your name is Jaimekhohler.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you need to call down to the jail to see when they'll process him out. It might take some time, so.
But she got a co-sign first. Pinto, I'll send you the link, and you can send it to her.
Thank you, sir.
And you can do it online.
All right. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Good luck.
Position 5, Mr. Roglioli.
Rogelio.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. You have been charged in case 24 CR 007805C with 1 misdemeanor offense. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah. Let's see. 4th arrest. Last arrest was on the 22nd of this month for trespass out of DeKalb County. Got an open case in Gwinnett, sexual battery. 2022 conviction for the same charge. That's it.
Yes.
Your Honor, this incident took place on June 29th of 2023. The victim is Brooke Lewis. She was walking her dog near 1009 Greenwood Avenue in Atlanta when the defendant whistled at her. When she looked over, he was fully exposed, pants down, masturbating. It took a while to ID this defendant. She made a report the following day with APD. However, he was not actually ID'd until June of this year. the victim had posted this incident on an app called Nextdoor, where neighbors can keep in touch of the happenings around the neighborhood. And the defendant's ex-girlfriend actually reached out to the victim and provided text messages where the defendant is admitting that this was him exposing himself near that address. And of course, he has prior cases of a similar nature. So we're requesting a 2,000 surety, an SDET, no further contact with Miss Lewis, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Yes, Ms. Pinto. Is this your case, Ms. Pinto?
Oh, yes, sorry, I didn't hear you, Judge. Mr. Rogelio Martinez is 21 years old. He does not have any children. He's lived in Georgia his entire life. His mother, sister, and aunt all live here, and he resides with his aunt and girlfriend. He did go through the 11th grade, and he's currently working on getting his GED. He has a good job working as a roofer for the roofing company. He's been there about 6 months. So he does have strong ties to the community. He is currently getting both substance abuse and mental health treatment through LifeStance and then through his provider, Kaiser. He's working on getting diagnoses and the proper medication. I think he's going to be diagnosed, or it sounds like he's almost diagnosed with this pre-psychotic disorder and bipolar disorder. This incident is noted by the state is from June. At the time, he had lost his job. He was struggling with drugs. He understands that this is an issue for him, and it's something he's actively working on, getting treatment and proper medication to try and address the underlying issues for him. He is happy to stay away from the incident location and the alleged victim, whom he does not know. I would just ask that we set a bond that is low enough for him to be able to pay and be able to continue with the treatment that he's already seeking. He reports that he could only pay a $200 bond.
Okay.
And Your Honor, it looks like he, at the time of this incident, he was on probation for public indecency in 22 CR 005-709G, which he pled guilty to November 14th of 2022 with a different victim. And it looks like he was not ordered to undergo an SDET at that time. So we are requesting that he be evaluated now.
Okay. Given that he is already getting some treatment from LifeStance, I'm going to have him continue with that treatment at LifeStance. It's going to be a $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Rick Lewis. Continue the treatment that he's having with LifeStance, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I'm not sure if your client has a question or not, Ms. Pinto, but he seems to be.
Do you have a question, Mr. Martinez? Okay.
Okay.
I would like to add something if I can speak.
You have a right to remain silent, Mr. Martinez. Anything you say can be used against you. Ms. Pinto will give you a call, and anything that you need to discuss, you can discuss it with her, okay?
Well, I mean, I had discussed it with her, but she didn't discuss it with you.
I can call you, Mr. Martinez, and I can see what it is you want to tell the court. I would advise against speaking on your own behalf,
I understand.
given your right to remain silent.
All right, good luck, sir.
So can I have a moment to speak with him?
Oh, that's fine. If you want to give him a call. As such, we'll be in recess until Ms. Pinto returns. Yes, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. He just wanted the court to know that he already did a psychosexual evaluation, and he is actively seeking and complying with the treatment that was recommended. I can't remember if the court ordered another evaluation or just continue with the current treatment that he's on.
That he's on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he just wanted to make it clear that he is doing everything he can.
You, Mr. Martinez. Okay, Ms. Bridgewater, I believe that completes the 2 o'clock calendar. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is December the 10th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 4 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 7, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 8 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. 9 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $4,500 good bond. 11 and 12, position number 11 has a total $2,000 good bond, and position 12 has a $1,000 good bond, and they're both going to the competency calendar on December the 12th. 13 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, and add-on number 1 is going to be reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. I'm not sure whether or not I told you all about the one that has the cosigner with Kohler. He has a cosigner.
Yes, I just got the link on that. So Mr. Howard, I just give the mom the link and then she can sign that way. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how I go. But just save the link though, just in case in the future if you have a cosign.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I had another person that I was expecting on the calendar, Patrick Bryant. Was he
NOD.
upgraded or something?
NOD.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anything further this afternoon?
I don't think so, Judge.
Okay, very good. Thank you all. If nothing further, y'all have a good rest of your day. I won't be here tomorrow, so y'all have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
Judge.
Okay.
Thank you. You too, Judge.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.